This video contains spoilers, you have been warned. Characters, they're by far my favorite thing, so why not talk about them? A Blake's Tale of you. So let's go Amicia first. She actually goes to neutral this time around. Amicia is a difficult MC for me to like. I feel bad for her. Do not get me wrong. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for like her story and all of that. But she does a lot of things I actually don't really like as a MC. They delve upon her like PTSD, I guess, or her trauma, I guess is a better word, when it comes to like her having to like kill people and all that. But her rages are just, if they're meant to obviously make the player character, us, uncomfortable, they definitely did that well. Congratulations on that. But then she also just had other aspects that's like, it's hard for me to dispense my disbelief. And that aspect of being like, her caring about Hugo so much, or like how Hugo is apparently her whole world. I really cannot dispense my belief enough to really be like that. So I'm just like, yeah. I want to like Amicia. I always want to fave the MCs. But I think this time around she goes into neutral. I can feel bad for a character and not like them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't dislike them. It's just like she doesn't do anything that I like, and she does actually a lot of things that I actually don't really like. But yeah, Amicia goes in there, to say the least. Arnaud also was neutral for basically just different reasons. Like, he's kind of just there. I think his story with the Count and his like son dying is fine, but getting that reveal during a combat scene where I wouldn't say it's per se easily missed, but it's easier to miss dialogue during a combat scene than a cutscene because your focus could be more on like the combat than the dialogue. So yeah, there's that. But then Amicia betraying Arnold, or Arnold making a deal with Hugo, all of that. It's just like, I think he's fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's fine. He doesn't do anything major. I don't think his story is that compelling per se. And you're like, Arnold, the wall. It's like, he barely reaches a neutral because he's one of the main 5 characters in this game anyways. By the way, there's basically only 5 main characters in this story. Anyone who's played this game knows that. Beatrice just goes and don't care / no opinion. I don't know what the fuck they were doing with Beatrice. I'll be with you. Beatrice was one of those characters that probably should have either died in the first game or just for some reason never show up in like the second game. Like, just have her like, I don't know, like traveling, or have like the other 3 traveling somewhere else and like leaving Beatrice behind. She doesn't do anything this whole entire story. Like, she literally basically does nothing, and I really don't know what the hell they were doing. Like, she is literally only a plot device to make the 2 Daruns go haywire, or go crazy. That is literally her only purpose in this story. And it's just like, really, like, Beatrice, the mother of Hugo and Amicia, and she does basically nothing the whole entire story other than just being a plot device to make the Daruns go a bit cray-cray. I don't know. She should have died in the first game, or just not showed up in the second game. Genuinely, in my opinion, I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking or doing with Beatrice. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is a mother and just doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, she genuinely just does not really care about her 2 children, and she's like, so like, it's not used. Like, what the fuck? Emilia, I believe, something like that. She also goes into don't care. I think her story about, having abusive parents, yeah, sure, that's sad, but it's also like, I don't care about her, you know what I mean? Like, she's just an antagonist that I just don't care about, you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of antagonists that I don't care about, and she's unfortunately just is one of them, because like, oh yeah, like, you could say I can't really say I dislike her, because it's more like I don't dislike her, I just don't care, you know what I mean? It's just like, what she does, like, yeah, you could say, oh, well, she killed Beatrice, like, yeah, sure, Does anyone care about Beatrice though? Not really. So yeah, that's that one. Hugo does not go in dislike, but he's sort of close to it. Hugo is such a, with Amicia, is a interesting character to say the least. He's like naive, but like not in like a good aspect. One of the things I find really jarring from like the first and second game is how much careness Hugo cares about his mother. Like in the first game, he was literally willing to get captured by the enemy just to see his mother again, which means, you know, abandoning, you know, Amicia, his sister at that time still, but you know what I mean, abandoning his sister, which they were still growing a bond. Now you can say like during the first and second game, you know, in between, their bond got stronger, but it just seems so weird why they try to rely on the sibling bond so much, wherein if you played the first game, Hugo was perfectly fine abandoning Amicia for Beatrice, for his mother. And they basically just dropped that trait about Hugo, and I really don't know why they dropped that trait about Hugo. Like, I found that just a bit weird, because, like, Hugo cared about Beatrice a lot. And just to have, you know, basically what happened similar in, like, the first game, and where, you know, Amicia said, yeah, like, you know, we can't tell Hugo that Beatrice is still alive, so we're just gonna quote-unquote abandon / leave her. Hugo's like, nah, F that, I'm gonna get captured by the enemy and see Beatrice again, see his mother again. But in the second game, Amicia abandons Beatrice again, and Hugo is just chill with that. Like, what? That's so weird. And then there's other things about Hugo that I don't really like he's like naive, but it's also like him having the power of the rats and like the Immacula. I'll talk about the Immacula during my thoughts of the game, like my wrap-up thoughts about the game. But yeah, Hugo is he's just not like a likable character in my opinion. Like it's another, oh yeah, do I feel bad for the character? Yeah, slightly, but I feel more bad for Amicia because, you know, as I said, Hugo's kind of just that annoying child, you know what I mean? That like doesn't really know the world, and it's like also perfectly fine with like he's not thinking straight like at all. So yeah, that's kind of that. Lucas, however, easily goes into faves. Lucas is a prime example of what I love about characters and how easily you can get into faves for my tier list. While it might seem difficult, it's actually kind of pretty easy to get into faves, in my opinion, sometimes with a character. Lucas is a prime example. He has so many traits of why I like love characters, basically. You know, he's kind, compassionate. I wouldn't say courageous per se, but like him being like kind and compassionate and cute. You know, those are like the three main qualities that I love about Lucas, because like he's that voice of reasoning. He's that stable pillar for Amicia, and I just love that. You know, he's just there. And it's an absolute fucking crime that he's just ignored for over half of the game. Like, he basically just gets sidelined for over half of the game. And that's such a crime to my boy. So, yeah. And, like, you know, and he's just, like, reasonable. Like, he doesn't, like, actively kill anyone. He actually tries to, like, see the good in people. He doesn't actively try to kill people, like the like the Daroons, to say the least. So, yeah, it's just, like, Lucas is such a fantastic character, and I love so many scenes about him. Just after Beatrice died, you know, both of the Daroons are not in a stable place, obviously, because their mother died, and, you know, I'll lead you both. We're both getting out, you know, it's just it's such a great scene, and I loved Lucas. Every scene he basically was in, I just gobble that up, to say the least. But yeah, Lucas absolutely, you know, brings a smile whenever I saw him, every single time. So yeah, Sophia also goes into neutral. She's fine, I guess. Like, if you really want to like go down that route, you can just say that she basically just replaces Beatrice for the most part. It's like, oh yeah, you know, your mother's dead, so I'll be your, what is it, like foster mother, something like that. I don't really know the term. I'm not even a cat to look it up. But yeah, it's basically kind of that, really. It's just like, she doesn't do anything that I care about. I don't really think a backstory is either explained either. Like, I don't really think so, you know what I mean? And I don't think her interaction with Hugo and Amicia are that memorable, right? Yeah, thinking about it, not really. Yeah, other than Sophia just knowing how to pilot a ship and just being a companion with like the Prism, I don't really know anything about Sophia, I'll be real with you. I just, like, she gets so close into, like, don't care, but, like, she's, like, kind of integral to the plot. Like, these five mainish characters are the actual, like, stories that, like, are actually, like, somewhat involved in the plot, and then everybody else is kind of just, like, there, to say the least. So, yeah, Victor's kind of the same with Emilie, in which, like, I don't, you know, like, just because they're an antagonist doesn't mean I have to hate the antagonist or, like, the villains of the story. Just because they do wrong by our protagonist, I have to, like, automatically dislike them. But yeah, Victor, you know, making up that cult was kind of a cool reveal. Won't lie. But, you know, it's like, oh, well, why don't you dislike Victor for, like, harming Amicia? Just like, I mean, he's kind of just doing it out of love for Emilia, so like, you know. Also, I don't think it's Emilia, but it's close to that. So I'm just gonna say Emilia. I'm butchering some of his names. That's because it's been a hot second since I've played the game. That's besides the point. So yeah, it's like I just don't care about him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not central focus on the plot. He's kind of just there. Like, I think in like maybe the latter half of the game. So it's just like a, you know, like, yeah, he hurts Amicia, but it's just like, still don't care because they don't, like, forced upon him. Like, basically, the only way you can get dislike and hate, pretty much, and if you actually do something heinous, or if the plot, like, forces me to, like, try and make me like the character when I really don't like the character. Like, that's basically the only way you can get dislikes to hate, by the way, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, most of the time, I just don't care. So, yeah. That's all the mainish people. Now I'm just gonna go with like really rapid fire, basically. But yeah, Joseph, he's the boat guy. Kind of sad that he died, but that's about it. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Hugo's death yet. Well, oh shit, that's so right. I'll do it in my thoughts then. Fuck it, I don't care. Milo, I don't care. He's just like the slave trader that I don't care about. And then also Valdoon, something like that. What? I don't give a fuck. He just also just dies. So just like I don't care about him. So yeah. Those are the quick rankings about it. Now, about the characters, quick-ish. Now I'm just gonna talk about the game as a whole, like with all the characters combined, I guess, to say the least, which is just more yapping / ramblings, basically, just if you want to hear, like, me ramble about the game for a hot second. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't even talk about it. Oh, yeah, I guess we'll just talk about, like, Amicia's final design. I really don't like Amicia's final design. I don't know what the fuck they were doing with Amicia's final design. I think a time skip haircut is so trash. So there was that. Another thing, which I found really confusing, was obviously about like the ending for like the most part. This is kind of sort of a problem with games that don't have a main antagonist / main villain, is that, and you have a goal in mind, but that goal can't be accomplished. Like, the goal was obviously to stop or find a cure for Hugo's Immaculate. That was the goal. That didn't happen. So in doing so, the only way the game could really end is one of the two MCs dying. That either being Hugo or Amicia. And we all know that Hugo is the one that dies. So yeah, but it is strange how Basilius' plague. Basilius is like, maybe now it could just be like the intent of it as well. But when Basilius died, a whole new plague, you know, occurred when Basilius died. And that's probably because he wanted to curse the world. Now you could probably say, oh, the reason plague didn't survive or a new plague didn't spread was because Hugo wanted to die and he knew he was dying by his sister's own hand. So he didn't, like, quote unquote hate the world. So, but it is weird how everything is roughly resolved in like a year for the most part. The post year also very weird decision in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I think like I said before, this game basically banks on you caring enough about Amicia and Hugo's relationship to see how they pan out for the most part. And for me personally, I don't care, you know, unironically. I really didn't care. Like, and this is obviously like post game wide, like after my thoughts. I always have different opinions like post after I've beaten the game, differently from when I'm playing the game. But I think this time around, like post wise, it's like yeah, I think the story is it's I don't know, it's not that memorable in my opinion. Like I don't particularly care about the two bonds between Amicia and Hugo. Like, I unfortunately wasn't invested in those two characters basically at all. And it didn't help that you had a great ass character in Lucas and you just sidelined him. Like, that's just so oof, you know what I mean? And now obviously this is just my own opinion. Obviously just my own opinion. Some people love Amicia and Hugo, I get that. But I personally just don't, because they just don't do anything that I like. Like, basically, I'm a pretty simple person. If a character does things that I like, they go up. If they do things that I don't like or I don't really care about, they stay or they go down. You know what I mean? And it's just like, Amicia did so many things that just like, I feel bad for her. Yes, but do I like her? Definitely not. Hugo, I definitely do not like / don't care. It's just like he sometimes argues with like Amicia, and again, they didn't really do it too badly, which I was fine with that. But they didn't have like some random stupid ass argument between Amicia and Hugo. I am glad they didn't do that. But yeah, but again, with like the Immaculate not really being explained, that's still not being explained, and with the Kia and them trying to find the island, like I just don't find the plot that memorable in my opinion. So yeah, obviously the game banking on you enjoying the relationship. But if you don't, then you're obviously probably not gonna like enjoy the game as much, which is kind of basically the side I'm on, to say the least. Like, it's still hard for my disbelief to be like how Amicia is Hugo's whole world. Like, that's still hard for me to like convince me like at all. So yeah, Lucas is still absolutely, you know, absolutely not perfect, but you know, in this game, this is a fine example. It's like, even in realistic, dark, or like depressing setting stories, yeah, there are still characters that can reach faves. It's not that hard. Clueless. But yeah, another thing that I really question is when Amicia said, you know, all you did to like protect this world, like near the ending when she's talking to Hugo's grave, and you know, she's saying like, you know, all you did to like protect this world. I don't know what the fuck she was talking about. I'm on the side of Hugo with an absolute fucking menace. Like, sure, he cared about the world, but the problem though is that if you didn't align with him, he would kill you with rats. You know what I mean? It's just like, yes, are they bad people for killing and slaving? Yes, most definitely. Does that mean you get to just eat them with rats? I'm not so sure about that, you know what I mean? So yeah, also, near the start, they delve upon Amicia's trauma about having to kill again, and her rage inside, but it's also toned down. Like, it's ignored until it's not ignored again, you know what I mean? Like, the next time she really gets the blood rage is in like Milo's thing, and then obviously when like Beatrice dies, but it didn't have as much of the fact that I thought it would, basically. So there's also that. So yeah, and also obviously this game banks on you somewhat liking the interaction between Arnaud and Sophia, like the other two, like, you know, like main side characters of that being Arnaud and Sophia, and the unfortunate part that I don't really care about this story. So like I said, Sophia isn't really explained. Like, her backstory isn't that. Like, if it is explained, I've just forgotten about it. So there was that, and I think her interaction between Sophia and Amicia just aren't memorable enough. And then obviously Arnaud having his own thing is again fine, but it's hard for me to like really care, to say the least. So yeah, that's kind of the problem with this game. I kind of repeat myself, but not having a main villain was an interesting play. Like, I think it's beneficial for this game, but then if you don't have a main villain, it's really hard to end the game if they don't accomplish their goal. And obviously they didn't accomplish their goal, so one of them had to die, so, you know, Hugo died, so yeah. TLDR, this game banks on you liking Amicia and Hugo's relationship and the two new side characters' stories and interactions, but unfortunately, I did not care for any of them. So yeah, other than Lucas was good. But yeah, you're for now.